So, one of the questions I get asked a lot when I talk about what I do, when I share about breath work, is why breath work? What is it? What does it do for me? Why did I leave behind the life that I had before, the business that I had before, to go down this path, to become a breathwork teacher, to share this practice, and to really build my life around this? It's been that impactful for me. So I thought I'd do a series of videos talking about different reasons why, because there's a few reasons. It's not just one. This is a practice that has impacted my life in so many ways. And one of the reasons I first went down this in this video to begin this series I'll talk about is stress and anxiety. Stress and anxiety is something that was such a big part of my life for so long. So I was a single father. My son was born, I was 18 years old. And I decided to make it, one of the big important things in my life was to be there for my son, to be there to pick him up from school, to take him to school, to be in his life in a big way. And so I went down the entrepreneurial path. I decided, okay, well, I'm going to start my own business. Instead of going to work every day and being absent from his life, I wanted to be there in his life. So I wanted to find a way to make money from home. So as a single father and an entrepreneur at a very young age, brought a lot of stress and anxiety into my life. Learning how to make money from home, and we're talking about the late 90s, early 2000s here, when technology wasn't as advanced as it was today. It's a little bit easier to make money from home, and so many other people are doing this, especially in this post-pandemic era where so many people are now working from home. Well, back in the late 90s and early 2000s, this was not normal. And so I went down this path because I wanted to be there for him. I wanted to find a way to be in his life on a daily basis. And so I went down this entrepreneurial path, found a way to make money from home. And this brought a lot of stress and anxiety in my life because I was barely getting by. I was barely squeezing by. And I found a way to make it work for a long time. However, I carried a lot of stress and anxiety with me for so many years, and it built up and it built up and it built up, and it would show up in my life in ways of emotional outburst, self sabotage, addictions. The addictions to food, to alcohol, were big in my life. Later, moved into to marijuana and weed to do my best to find a way to relieve some of that stress and anxiety. Didn't know how to manage it, and I was looking for ways to do that. And eventually, I found breath work, and it started to relieve some of that stress and anxiety. So so much of that time of my life, I felt like I couldn't breathe. When the stress would build up, I didn't know where the next money was coming from. I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills. I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent. I didn't know how I was going to put food on the table. I felt like I couldn't breathe. And I thought that that was normal. It became normal in my life. And then when I started to do breath work, I finally felt like I could breathe. I finally felt that sense of relief. And even if it was just for brief moments at the beginning, I felt that sense of relief. And that became my new addiction, a healthy addiction that I was able to move into. Because, see, I went from addiction to addiction, trying to find ways to relieve stress and anxiety in my life. Finally, I found something that gave me that sense of relief. And so I got addicted to it. It's one of the first things that I did on a daily basis, regularly for a long period of time. I wasn't that kind of guy before. And breath work gave me that sense of relief. And I wanted that. I wanted that so bad. I wanted to feel like I could breathe again because it had been so long since I felt like I took a big, deep breath. And breathwork gave that to me. So I turned to breathwork to help me manage the stress and anxiety, and eventually getting better at that, learning more practices that helped me when anxiety would arise, when anxiety would peak, when stress became overwhelming. I had something to turn to. I had somewhere to go that wasn't medication, that wasn't alcohol, that wasn't food, that wasn't marijuana, that wasn't something unhealthy that was actually taking away from my life. It was something that was benefiting me, and it was giving me that relief. So that's why I turned to breath work and got addicted to breath work. It's one of the reasons why breath work has become such a big part of my life, and eventually I decided to make it my mission to share this practice with people like you, people out there that are struggling the same ways I struggled before, struggling to be the best parent they could be. It meant so much to me to be a good father, to be the best father that I could be, to be there for my son, that I sacrificed so much for that. It meant so much to me to become a better entrepreneur, to do something worthwhile, to make a difference in the world. Those things meant something to me. And now I found that way, so I made it my mission. I closed up the business that I had before. I said goodbye to my clients. I sent out that difficult email to my clients. I'm closing up shop. I'm going to move on to do something different. And the reason why I did that was because breathwork gave me that breath of fresh air that I needed so badly. And I still didn't quite know where my money was going to come from. Look, I'm closing my business and I'm going to move into this path. I don't know how I'm going to get by. But you know what? That breath of fresh air is so important to me. To be able to breathe is so important to me. I'm going to make that leap. And so I went down that path. And so I invite you, if stress and anxiety play a big role in your life, if it feels like at times you can't breathe, like you're being squeezed, like you're drowning, I invite you to try out breath work. I tried it out. I took a leap and I got that breath of fresh air that I was looking for, that relief from the stress, that relief from the anxiety. And it meant so much to me that I'm sitting here today as a breath work teacher, as somebody that has spent years and years and years now studying these practices, sitting here sharing this, building a platform for myself to share these practices with somebody like you. So if that story resonates with you, if stress and anxiety have played a big role in your life, if you're an entrepreneur out there and feels like you can't breathe at times because the stress overwhelms you, because you don't know if you're going to make the payments on the next set of payments to your employees or the bills or whatever it may be. If you're a father out there or a mother, if you're a parent, especially a single parent, I invite you to try out breathwork. Come to my platform, explorewithcasey.com. Try out a session. Find that relief that you're looking for. Connect with me. If you're interested, I also offer coaching to help you get that relief that you're looking for. So that's the first reason why I turned to breathwork. The biggest, probably the most important one. We're starting off with a big one. There's so many other reasons why I do breathwork, but really the first reason I turned to it was stress and anxiety, to improve my mental health, because that was really eating away at me. And eventually I felt like it was going to destroy me if I didn't do something about it. And I did something about it. I started breathing. So I invite you to do the same. Explorewithcasey.com. Come to my website, check it out, and let me help you get that breath of fresh air that you're looking for.